Yeah, I think the first thing that people need to realize is that Quiet Skies is not, some kind of fantasy that's been cooked up at the edges of the internet or anything like that. The story, the existence of the program was disclosed 6 years ago in 2018. It came out in the Boston Globe. There was significant coverage of it back then. There were hearings in the Senate. Senator Ed Markey questioned the head of the TSA at the time, who admitted that thousands of Americans who were not even suspected of crimes were being followed under the program. There was a significant acceleration of the program after January 6th, when a number of people who were either in attendance inside the Capitol or just at the speech that day were placed in the program. And the major issue with this Quiet Skies program is that it places a significant amount of government resources and air marshal personnel to follow people, but they're not trying to develop cases. They are just conducting surveillance. So this is a major problem with a lot of the stuff that happens in the war on terror programs. Because of that, they never have to justify, they never have to prove probable cause. And we don't know why, for instance, somebody like Tulsi Gabbard would be placed under surveillance, but we do know that Quiet Skies is very excessive in terms of the number of people who are assigned to each selectee. That's what they call them. It's up to 3 marshals per flight. If you have 3 flights in a day, that will be 9 marshals. There can be as many as 15 people in an airport following a single person, plus canine sniffing, bomb sniffing dogs, which Tulsi was aware of. So it's a remarkable program. It's possible, when I reached out to the TSA, they sent me back a pro forma letter when I asked if she was even in the program. They essentially sent back a form letter saying, well, there are a variety of reasons a person can be matched to this program. It can mean anything. Your presence in the program doesn't automatically designate derogatory information. So we don't know exactly what it means. It could be somebody just sort of subjectively deciding that person is a threat and designating them a domestic terror threat. But I think from Tulsi's point of view, she sees it as threatening and certainly as harassing. And I think possibly the program is designed to produce that effect in people. It's designed to make people feel that they're under surveillance. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and as Tulsi herself pointed out to me, if they really thought that she was an elevated threat for, something like a hijacking or a bombing of a plane, then why are they letting her on a plane at all? Right. That's a very strange question. You talked about the waste. There's actually an Inspector General report about Quiet Skies that was published in 2020, I believe, 2019 or 2020, that concluded that in the year they examined, the budget for the air marshals was $804 million, and they concluded that $394 million of that could have been, quote, better spent. You're talking about an enormous sum of money that is being allocated to these missions where, yes, you have to have multiple marshals at every point of travel, and they even have to have people standing by for contingencies, like if somebody's on a wait list for a flight, they have to get extra marshals for that. They follow people in and out of the plane. They go to see if they mark down if they're going to the bathroom, what they eat.
Oh my God.
What is all this for? Why are they doing this? It's in keeping with this, again, it's in keeping with this new conception of what the federal enforcement mechanism does, which is it is strictly an intelligence gathering and surveillance operation. Very often, it's not going towards trying to prosecute somebody for a crime like terrorism or conspiracy. So this is an important question. I think you're asking a good question, because the reason this came out at all is 2 air marshals came forward. They came forward to an Air Marshals Association that it's not a union, but it sort of represents the interests of air marshals and things like workers' comp complaints and whistleblower complaints. And there have been a lot about this program dating back to 2018. This is the original reason this program got disclosed, is because some air marshals were not happy with following Americans who were not suspecting with crimes, and they went to the Boston Globe initially. There was another whistleblower complaint that came out a couple of years ago when an agent in the TSA found out that his own wife was on the list and protested, made a protected disclosure about that. Now we have two people who were involved in this mission, one of whom was actually conducting physical surveillance of Tulsi Gabbard, who reportedly came forward through this association and are negotiating now with who's going to represent them. Now, a number of people in this story have talked to those marshals, including, I believe, Tulsi herself. So there are two whistleblowers by multiple accounts. The question is, what exactly did they know, apart from the fact that there was a mission involving Tulsi Gabbard? We don't know that yet. We don't know why she would be on a list. We don't know why there would be surveillance. There have been instances in the past where there have been mistakes. If you remember, a long time ago, Senator Ted Kennedy was put on a watch list in an earlier non-TSA context. But yes, the source of the story is basically these two marshals, and also Tulsi Gabbard herself reporting the behavior, and then comparing notes with the agents themselves. Yeah, she doesn't, which makes this a little bit more mysterious. Also the dates a little bit mysterious. She was ostensibly put on July 23rd, which is a day after she gave a pretty aggressive interview criticizing the administration's policies in Ukraine. It's also right after Kamala Harris became the presumptive nominee. But, Robbie, you're absolutely right. The key thing to understand about this program, and about a lot of other programs, including, by the way, the kill list, which is the worst list of all, which is that they're not intending to go to court. So this never has to be reviewed by anybody. There's no process between putting somebody on a list and having some kind of body review the evidentiary standard that causes a person to come under increased surveillance or be selected for more aggressive activity, right? Including a no-fly list, or even what they call lethal action. There isn't a review. There is a due process that is internal, but it's not the kind that we traditionally understand, and that's why these programs, I think, are so dangerous, because they sort of run counter to our basic understanding of how these things work in America. Yes, we've always had wiretaps, but they have to go before a judge who has to say that it meets some kind of legal standard. That doesn't happen if you're not planning to go to court. And these things, are designed to kind of stay in the shadows, and they're just collecting information. Is that good? Is that the kind of country we want to have? I'm not sure. I think that's kind of scary.